individuals who have a few $1,000s, they need to think very differently. You can be meticulous. You can be like a sniper. I say like trade like a sniper, where you have a small account. Most people who have just a small account, they look at it like it's a bad thing. They're like, oh, I can't wait till I have, $1 million, $1 billion, then I can allocate to different things and I have 7 longs and 3 shorts. And for me, I like trading with a small account because I can make a few $100s or a few $1,000s a day, and then I step away. I literally am done for the day right now. So you're helping me stay away, because I'm a degenerate gambler too. I just have learned the rules. And I know this isn't necessarily like the basics of trading like you wanted, but that's what this is.
So I love how you say you're a degenerate gambler, and a lot of your students are.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest, a lot of humans are, right? We love to take a punt.
A lot? We all are.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that. We're alive. Like, life is exciting. If you're not excited about it, then like it's just boring. So for me, I do like the excitement of making money. But again, 20 years of trading now has taught me rules. Like, I might make money on some trades, but it's too risky. Like, what if I can't control my risk? Every time you put your money into the market, anything can happen. You can lose a lot. So if you're not disciplined with rule number 1, cutting losses quickly, it can go away, like most traders.
Yeah, so it's like mental discipline. You said the going to war. I had Jocko Willink here, U.S. Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And if you asked him about his time in Ramadi in Iraq with his troop, I bet it's all about mental discipline. Because he said, look, sometimes you're taking fire from everywhere. You might be the big bad Navy SEALs from America, but you fall back.
Yeah.
It's constantly about discipline, or your guys get killed.
It's all risk reward, right? Like, you might see the end goal where you're like, oh my God, this is this big shiny goal at the end, but then it's just not worth the risk, because to get there, you might lose everything or you might blow yourself up. So for me, I make baseball analogies. I say I like taking singles instead of going for home runs. Like, there's ways where I can make more money, but I might risk losing everything, and I can't risk that. Like, for me, I want to build my account gradually, block by block. And sometimes I have to take one step backwards, like with a small loss, but I never want to go all in. I never want to use leverage. People say, oh, I'm so sure of this, and they go all in. And it's, what is that bad Kevin Bacon movie from the 1980s where he loses everything in the stock market? He's an options trader, and then he becomes like a bike messenger, and then there's bike messenger wars.
Sounds familiar, I don't know.
This is what happens, and he goes all in. Never go all in. Learn from Kevin Bacon.
To a baseball analogy, there's that movie Moneyball, which is interesting, and if people haven't seen it, it's a great movie. I think Brad Pitt's in there, and the other dude, the fat dude, whatever his name is.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, Jonah Hill. He's great.
And it's a true story.
And that's all about the singles. That's all about playing the numbers so you can win consistently and get to the World Series, as opposed to trying for the flashy moves. The big grand slams,
And it's also analyzing everything a little differently. Like, people before that would just look at hits, like, okay, what's his batting average? But this is like, what if the fielder made a really good play, but it should have been a hit, right? So what does that count as? Like, you can't control what the fielder does, but you can see a little more to the stats. And that's basically what trading is. You're looking at the stats a little more than just what is a company's revenue, what is the growth rate, what is the PE ratio, very basic stuff, which long-term investors love. But trading, you have to look a little more behind the plate. And it's actually good. Like, value investors, there's nothing wrong with value investing. It works over decades, but they don't understand how, like, a company like Instagram got bought out by Facebook for $1 billion. Value investors cried. They said, no, Instagram has no business whatsoever. They had like 12 employees. That's a terrible play. Now Instagram's worth 50, 60, 70 billion, depending on who you ask. It was one of the best acquisitions of all time. But they bought it when there was no business, but they had a lot of users and they had a popular app, and Facebook could envision building revenue on top of that. So the world has changed a little bit, and you have to think, what can be valued in the future as opposed to just right now? A lot of companies report good earnings right now, and you're like, oh yes, this company just reported record earnings. And then the stock drops. And you're like, but they reported record earnings. But maybe on the conference call they said, we're doing well now, but we have 2 new competitors, or we're doing well now, but we have to ramp up research and development costs. So the world and the stock market and finance is very forward thinking, and you have to be too.
Yeah, let's talk about cutting losses, because you kind of went over it briefly, but it's such an important concept. And this is that, Tim was just talking on the wins you kind of lock in, and the losses you make small.
Yeah.
And first of all, for anybody watching, it's actually not human to cut losses.
It's counterintuitive.
Right. Most humans buy high and sell low. And so they invest, and when it starts going down, they think,
double up, triple up.
I'll double up, I'll triple up, because I don't want to take a loss.
Correct.
And when it starts going up, they think, I'll wait for to get more. So it's fear and greed. And the natural human tendency is to go big on your losses and cut your gains. And so you actually have to be counterintuitive.
100% counterintuitive. So this is why learning lessons and practicing, like when people say, oh, I want to get into trading, I say, whoa, slow your roll first of all, study first, and then let's say you want to start with like 10,000, let's start with 2,000 instead, because you're probably going to lose in the beginning because you have to learn these weird rules. Like